Hey everyone, welcome or welcome back to my channel. If you want to add some color to your home this fall season, stick around. I got some great ideas to share with you that will really make your house look beautiful this year. Thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it. I'm starting with a 14-inch wreath frame I got at Dollar Tree, and then I got this burlap ribbon at Hobby Lobby, and I'm just going to cut it down the middle. And then I'm going to completely wrap my wreath frame so that I can glue all my flowers onto it. I'm not using any wires on this one to attach everything. I'm just going to use glue. And I'm going to go all the way around, kind of overlapping the sides and leaving the side that I cut to be wrapped over. So you're going to cover that side. The side that was the smooth side is going to be the side that actually shows. This just kind of dresses up the frame a little bit, so if somebody were to look from the side of your wreath, it just looks like it's finished. And you could use any kind of ribbon that you want to. I just had this. My flowers, I'm taking some hydrangeas I got on Amazon. I'll give you the link for those. And I'm just going to use the whole pack of these that I got. And I'm going to go ahead and tie off the bottom because I'm going to go ahead and cut it off a little bit shorter. And I wanted to make sure that they do stay together. So just go ahead and take a string, tie it around the bottom really tightly just to make sure that they do stay together. Because once you cut that bottom off, they are separated. And I'm just tying them pretty tight, and I'm going to do all that to all 5 of mine. And you can get these same flowers at Hobby Lobby or Michael's even. They have a lot of them everywhere right now, and a lot of them are on sale right now. And then I'm just going to go ahead and snip off the very bottom because I need this to be a little bit flat to go on my wreath. Attach my flowers, I'm using a hot glue gun melting pot, and I'm dipping the ends of it into that to get quite a bit of glue on there. And then I figured out after I did a couple of them that it was a little bit easier just to use the glue gun because I wasn't wanting to get glue onto my petals. But I am going to use that though for all the rest of my leaves. And I'm just kind of evenly spacing out my flowers, and then I'm going to start filling in with a bunch of other stuff here in a minute. And then all the leaves that that are still on the stem, I went ahead and pulled all those off because I am going to put those on here as well. And this is where the glue melting pot really comes in handy because you can get quite a bit of glue on here pretty fast. And I'm just putting one of the leaves next to each one of the flowers. And then I got this Hobby Lobby leaf bundle. I'm just going to take it apart, and then I'm going to start inserting my little leaves next to each one of the flowers. Now be sure and go ahead and get a string to tie onto so you have a way of hanging this before you get all of your leaves and flowers and everything on here. And I'm just using jute string on this. And then I'm going to alternate. This bundle had 2 different colors, so I'm going to alternate. I'm going to put the light color on one side and then the darker color on the opposite side. And I'm using nearly the entire bundle on this. And then I'm going to go back in after I get it completely filled in all the way around. I had some extras, and I'm just going to go in and start filling it in just to kind of give it a little bit more depth in it. Then I'm adding some of these leaves that I got at Hobby Lobby as well, just to kind of add a little bit of splash of color in here. And then I did come back in and put a little bit more rust ones off camera. And then I got some pumpkins from Hobby Lobby, and I'm just going to put a few of these on here. Just kind of space them out a little bit. Just take things that you already have and just kind of put it together. You'd be surprised how full of a wreath you could probably get. And then these little twigs, they came on the little bundle with the leaves. And I'm just going to go ahead and take all the pine cones off and use these on here as well. And then I'm saving the little twigs, and I'll show you what I'm going to do with those here in a little bit. And I just added one more colored leaf in here just to kind of give it a little bit more color. All right, look how pretty that turned out. Okay, I think this turned out so pretty. Let me know what you think in the comments. This next one, I'm just using one of the maple leaves from Dollar Tree, and I'm going to put Mod Podge on it, and I'm going to put scrapbook paper on it. Now, I just had some scrapbook paper that had like a wood tone to it, and I'm pretty sure I got that in a paper pack from Hobby Lobby. But I'm going to go ahead and generously put a lot of this Mod Podge on here, and then I'm just going to put my paper on there with the wood grain going up and down. After that completely dried, I'm just going to take an X-Acto knife, and I'm going to trace around my leaf. And this really didn't take that long to do. Just, you didn't have to be perfect because we are going to sand the edges here in a little bit as well. I'm going to take some 300 grit sandpaper and just lightly go around it just to kind of finish getting all the excess paper around the edges of it. To give it a little bit of a distress look, I'm going to take some black chalk paint and a chip brush, and I'm just going to go right around the edges with this. And I'm starting out light at first, and then I came back in and did it a little bit heavier. Just kind of get it look like it's outlined. Just try not to make this look so perfect. And then I came back in with a smaller brush to kind of get around the edges a little bit easier. And then I ended up going back with my chip brush because it was working just fine. And just go all the way around. Just make sure that you get it completely done. And then kind of have some hanging over the edge as well. And then after I get this one done all the way to the edge, then I'm going to go ahead and take some water. And I'm going to mix a little bit of the black chalk paint with the water. And I'm going to distress the center of this. Just get it just a little watered down paint. And then just go ahead and get a little bit more on the edges. And then we're going to go ahead and do some in the center as well. Just try to get most of the paint off of your brush before you start doing this. Dress it up. I'm going to use a couple of these leaves I got at Dollar Tree. These are burlap leaves. I would highly recommend picking up several packs of these. They have them in a bunch of different colors. And then I got that little Hello Autumn. It came on this little bead stringer right here. And I'm going to go ahead and take all my beads off and use this on this project as well. I'm using 2 of the purple leaves from the little bundle that I got at Hobby Lobby. And I'm just going to glue those down at an angle. And then I'm going to glue my green one over the top of those. And then I'm taking 2 of them together, and I'm just going to kind of glue them right at the tips of the leaves. I'm not going to put too much glue on it because I don't want it oozing through. Just kind of go around the edges and get the tips of them on. And then I'm just going to glue down the back of it and glue this right over the top of the purple leaves. Beef my stem up a little bit. I'm going to take a cork and I'm just going to cut it in half. And this is just miter shears. I'll give you the link for these. You get them on Amazon. And then I'm going to go ahead and cut off the 2 wires on the bottom of that leaf. And I'm just going to glue that right onto the bottom. Then I'm just going to add my Hello Autumn right in the center. To cover up my cork, I'm just going to start at the very top with some jute string, and I'm just going to go all the way around. Now, I'm going to do this pretty tight, and then I am going to put a little bit of glue as I go down a little bit just to hold it in place. Just make sure that you are getting that cork completely covered up. This just beefed up the bottom a little bit to make it not look like it's just a little skinny stem. Then to add a hanger to this, I'm just going to poke a hole right through the top part of this where that hole was. And I'm going to take some jute and those white beads and I'm going to string them and attach them to the top. And then I'm just looping this through here and I'm going to run it up through my beads and then I'm going to glue it to the maybe like 2 or 3 up. Just glue the jute rope to itself and then go ahead and put your beads on down and glue your beads in and that'll hold that in place. And do the same thing at the top. Just take your string, run it down through the beads. I'm probably going about 2 or 3 of them down. And then go ahead and glue that rope together. And then go ahead and glue your beads on. And this will hold this together. And then just push your beads on down and put some glue inside of those. To dress it up a little bit, I'm just going to take some green wired ribbon and I'm just going to make a bow. And I'm just kind of folding it over and folding it over again to make my loops. And then I'm going to take a rubber band to put around the center to hold it together. And then I'll make my final loop over the top. This is an easy way to make a bow. And then I'm going to go ahead and cut my diagonals out on the side, on each side, and then I'm going to go ahead and cut a piece off to put in the center to go around the front part. Just kind of fold it over on both sides and then just wrap it around and glue it in the back. Okay, then I'm just going to go ahead and glue it right to the top part of that stem, and then I'm going to add a flower to the front just to kind of dress it up a little bit. Okay, this one really was pretty inexpensive to make, and it turned out so pretty, and I'm just putting it over my boxwood wreath on my front porch. Next one, I'm taking a pool noodle and I'm just going to cut it in half, and I'm going to use both halves in this project. And then I'm going to take some craft paper and I'm going to wad it up real fine. I'm breaking up the fibers in it, and we're going to go ahead and wrap it around our noodle to make this look like a wood log. And you want to roll it several times because you want to make sure that you don't see the orange through the paper. And then go ahead and just cut straight down the center. And then we'll save the other part for the other one. I'm just using some double-sided tape to go down one side, and then unroll your paper and go ahead and put a bead of that down your noodle as well. And then just go ahead and roll this up, and then you'll have it finished off, taped up together once you get done. Just roll it as tight as you can. You don't want it to be loose. And then we're going to go ahead and cut the ends off and tuck those in. And you could glue this in with some hot glue at the end here. I'm just pushing mine on in here. And I'm doing the same thing for the other side. And then I did my other noodle exactly the same way as I did this one. Okay, to make this look like a branch, I am going to take some truffle Waverly chalk paint and some black Waverly chalk paint, and I'm going to dip my chip brush in it and get most of the paint off. Now don't look at the gray I mixed up. That turned into mud and I passed that by, but I did test it on my paper. But just going to go ahead and kind of rub it onto the log, and what it's going to do, it's going to pick up the raised areas of the paper, and that's what it's going to actually paint onto. You want to still leave some of the craft color showing underneath. And just keep going until you get it as much as you want. Just start light at first, and then you can go back in and add more. And I'm going to do both of my logs exactly the same way. I'm going back in and I'm going to do the black on top of the brown. And I'm adding a lot less of the black than I did the brown, and I'm doing both of mine the same way. This makes it a nice base for what we're doing next. Okay, next we're going to go ahead and add a garland, and I'm going to decide to go ahead and glue the end of my paper into the noodle just to make sure that it stays. So I'm just putting a little bit of glue around the top part of the noodle and then just going ahead and folding that on in. And then I'm going to glue the end of that garland down into that hole. And we're just going to wrap this around. Now we're going to use 2 garlands on this, and we're going to roll half of it with one and then half of it with the other. And this garland came from Amazon. I'll give you the link for it. Now, when you get it, it's a little bit wrinkled. If you just throw it in the dryer for about 4 to 5 minutes, it will come out really pretty, and the leaves will be flat, and you'll be surprised how pretty it is. And I'm just going to go ahead and start rolling it up, and then I'm going to go ahead and glue a couple of leaves to the top part just to kind of hold them in place. And then just keep wrapping it till you get to the center. And with doing the log look before we did this, this really does help not to have to put so much stuff on here, because it does still look like a natural log. And try to get your leaves all turned the same way. And then when we get to the end, we're just going to go ahead and cut that loop off and go ahead and glue this up. You just want to make sure that you're only halfway. And just kind of shape it out a little bit to cover up the log. After you got that half done, we're going to go ahead and start at the opposite end and put our second one in. And just go ahead and glue it in as well. And then you're just going to wrap it till it meets in the middle with the other one. Be sure and glue your 2 leaves to the bottom, just like we did on the opposite end, and then just go ahead and start wrapping it till you get to the center. Just kind of turn your leaves where the colorful part is facing upward. And then we'll shape all this out here in a little bit. Once you get it all the way to the center and glued off, you can start shaping it, and it really does turn out nice. And then when you get to the center, go ahead and cut that little loop off as well, and then we're going to go ahead and glue this right to the log. Okay, then to fill in any gaps that you want to fill in, I just got these flowers at Dollar Tree, and I'm just going to kind of randomly place these in here. Just kind of makes it a little bit fuller. I just kind of picked some flowers that kind of match the colors of my leaves. And this is a great way to use things that you probably already have in your collection. And for a little texture, I'm just going to go in and put a few pine cones in here. Add a little bit more fullness to the top part. I went ahead and cut some of the leaves off the bottom that don't show anyway. And I'm just going to take a dowel stick and I'm going to poke a hole to the top part of my log, and I'm just going to glue those in. And I'm gluing them in bundles of 2. And that really did make it a lot more full on top. And then you're not wasting what's on the bottom. Okay, then I'm just adding one of the sticks from my first project that I made. I'm putting 2 of these in here. And then I just placed these side by side up on my mantle. I think they turned out so pretty. If you like a lot of real pretty bold colors during fall, I'd love to hear that in the comments. If you're a more neutral decor person, let me know that as well. I'd love to hear from you. For this one, I'm using some of the Dollar Tree Indian corn, and I bought every color they had. And I'm mixing some water with some white chalk paint, and I'm going to take a chip brush and brush it over these. Then I'm going to take them and I'm going to rinse them off. It really did kind of dull down the plastic look on these. Just kind of get it with a chip brush, kind of paint over it, and then take it and rinse them off. It gave them a more natural look once I got done with these. And then just be sure and just get them rinsed off. Now you will still have some water leaking out of them for a while, so you might want to keep a paper towel handy while you're making this project. So I just grabbed a hairband and a cylinder vase from Dollar Tree, and I'm just going to go ahead and put all of my corn in here. Just kind of line them up to where they're standing up. And I had enough to go all the way around to where they were tight. Okay, then I'm going to cut the tops of them off, leaving 2 inches. And then I'm going to go ahead and save that. It's like raffia. I'm going to save it for another project. Permanently hold all this together. I'm just coming around the middle of them with some jute string, and I'm just going to tie it into a knot. And then we're going to wrap it around several times here in a little bit. But get it really tight. And then go ahead and remove your rubber band. And then I'm going to take my glue gun and I'm going to glue the top part of each one of these corns to the vase all the way around just to hold it in place. Just make sure that they are standing up straight as you're doing this. It dried real well. I'm just going to take my jute string and I'm going to wrap this around probably about 5 times just to kind of give it a little bit of thickness. And then I'm just going to tie it off in a knot in the front. And then I'm going to fill my vase with just some regular popcorn. And then I'm going to put just a floating candle right down into the center of it. And that was pretty much easy. That was it. This really turned out really pretty. Love the way that this one turned out. I really love all the really colorfulness of this one, and it was very inexpensive. This year I am decorating with a lot of real bold colors. I really like them this year. Sometimes I go real neutral. Let me know which way you decorate. If you like these kind of videos, be sure and like, subscribe, and ring that bell to be notified when I have a new video upload. Thank y'all so much for watching. I really appreciate it. And if nobody's told you today, you're awesome.